Of course, the key here is not just to present students with challenges, it's to help them succeed and get out of the challenge, to overcome that challenge and reach a new high point in their learning, to be able to do something new and more difficult. You can go downhill and do something new. You can do that all day, every day, but it doesn't gain you height in the learning landscape. And as you gain height in the learning landscape, you achieve something new and more difficult, but you also make everything else that's now below you a downhill challenge. So let's have a look at what we're talking about here. We're talking about these habits of mind, because in order to climb higher, you're going to need stuff in your backpack. And this is where one of the areas where the analogy of the learning landscape enriches our conversation about teaching and learning. Let's have a look at this. Excuse me. This is the theory. People have talked about challenge pits before, and this is broadly how it's meant to work. All right, student comes along. Come along, student, there you are. They jump into the challenge. They take the challenge on. In the learning landscape, you jump in here. Yes, you can see that this is going to take effort, but you're drawing on past knowledge. Everything down here you've learnt before. You climb up the top, you get to here, and the idea is that you get out the other side and woohoo, I've learnt something new and I've achieved something. There's success there. Unfortunately, that's not always the case, is it? How many of you have seen students do this? They come along to the challenge, they jump in, they climb up the other side here, they get to the part that's starting to get hard. This is the learning zone up here, remember? And at that point, things start to go wrong. And they fall back in to our challenge pit. How many of you, politely, in light of this analogy, have seen your students dying in the bottom of a challenge pit? So my year 11 and 12 English teachers, I remember this story clearly. Creative writing. I was a shocking creative writer. I was compliant. I would do what the teacher told me. But what the teachers would do in year 11 and 12 to help me become a creative writer, better creative writer, was to set more creative writing to do. And I would do it over and over and over again. And every time I did it, I got a C minus D plus. The standard I was at was about this. And nothing I was doing was getting me to here. And I remember the day the teacher came in and said, boys, it was a boys' school, boys, we're going to do some creative writing today. And I just went, oh, for sake, why? Look, I'll do it. I'm a good student in that. I'm compliant and all that sort of stuff. But what do you reckon is going to change? For the last 20 of these things that you've given me a C minus or a D plus. Let's just give me a D plus, assume it's going to be the same as before, and we'll save ourselves all the effort. So the only strategy my year 11 and 12 teachers had to help me become a better creative writer was to keep throwing me into this challenge pit. And what happened was I kept falling in. Now, for those of you who are watching closely, what was the difference between the student who climbed out and the student who got stuck in the bottom? Did anyone notice there was a difference in the image? The difference was that this student had a backpack. The one that got out the other side had equipped themselves with the tools, the strategies, the techniques that allowed them to climb higher than they had in the past. See, my year 11 and 12 English teachers didn't do their job. More higher. What sort of word's that?